Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I have got a fantastic and easy project for you today. These are ingredients for my favorite things, especially because we're using soft flex wire and doing a little bit of crimping. But I think this is a great way to make a bracelet band in no time. And it just requires a little bit of clever weaving with the beading wire, which I'm excited to show you. And also, the ingredients that I'm using can sort of be interchangeable. And if you've got gemstones at home, or if you are in the mood to shop, you can go to silversilkonline.com, find you some gemstones, find you some pipe chain, because that's what we'll be using today. And we'll put together this bracelet. I love pipe chain for a number of reasons, but I think its most clever usage is to fill it with some sort of a stringing material, especially to give it form and to give it an ease of technique and construction. So I'm going to teach you how to use that particular aspect of pipe chain with this project. So let me show you guys what we're going to be making today. It is this beauty here. And again, the entire focal area is woven together with beading wire, and then we are going to tuck it all nice and neat into the pipe chain as we progress with our lesson for today. So I am gonna swap my camera around, and we'll just get right into the materials list for today. All right, so let's start with our tools first. We've got a pair of chain nose pliers. You'll just need a pair of crimp pliers, and I've got some crimpers here from Zaron. I love these little guys. And then I've got a pair of wire cutters, my Lindstrom pair that I love so much. So these are the three basic tools that you'll need for this particular project. So I'm going to have those out to the side. And then a bracelet is what we're going to make. And these are the things that we'll need to construct that. I will say that once the bracelet is all finished, it's going to be around 7 inches. You can obviously expand or shrink that size to your liking simply by cutting down the amount of pipe chain that we'll be using. So at least in that regard, it's going to be pretty customizable. Um, the first thing we'll need, speaking of cutting pipe chain, is actual pipe chain. This is the hematite color. So it's sort of a smoky gray silicone tubing. As you can see, it's got about a 1.5 millimeter hole there that you can pretty much put whatever stringing material you want, whether it's craft wire or leather cord or beading wire in our case. I think it's just a wonderful stringing, I don't know, a wonderful way to string it through stringing material and to, again, just add some extra depth, dimension, and texture to your design. So again, this is a smoky colored silicone tubing, which has the hematite color wire that's been knitted over it for this luxurious and beautiful, intricate finish. Isn't that just absolutely stunning? I love the hematite color. It adds a little bit of that extra rustic texture that we're looking for to our design. So really, it comes in a 3-foot spool, but really we're just going to be using a couple snippets of it. And here I've got about 1.25 inches, maybe 1.5 inches length, and I've got 2 of those. So have some of that. That's hence like 4 inches total. So, I just simply cut it in half. And then you'll need 4 of the pipe chain end caps. These have been specially designed for pipe chain. They do have a little SilverSilk stamp on them, which I'm quite proud to sport on these little guys. But at the top, you'll see that there's also a 1.5, maybe 2 millimeter if we're really lucky. Probably closer to 1.5 as I'm looking at it in real life. Hole at the top. So whenever you pass all of your stringing material through the pipe chain, it will actually come out through the end cap as well. Again, just for a nice, clean, polished finish. So you'll need 4 of those total. You'll need a couple of the SilverSilk jump rings, which look like this. I'm just gonna have those out to the side as well. I think I lost one of them, but I can recover it later. You will also need a clasp. So we all have a particular clasp that we enjoy. I've been really into my toggles lately. So I may end up using that. And it also, again, has my SilverSilk stamp on it. It's got the same metal plating as the other findings that are available in the SilverSilk online website, which means that it's got 5 layers of plating of metal on it, which is incredible. They are tarnish resistant. They'll last forever, I hope. As long as I think if you don't go swimming with it, you should be fine. But they'll keep their sheen and luster for quite some time. And speaking of clasp, if you are not into the toggles and want an S hook, those are now available too. Again, comes in the same polish and with the SS stamp on it, same plating technology, and it comes with jump rings as well. So in case you lose one like I did, don't worry, you've got a backup. And finally, you'll need, well, not finally, but as we're moving down the list, you'll need a couple snippets of 20 gauge craft wire. Does not matter what the color is because it's going to be tucked away inside of the pipe chain and you won't even see it. So if you've got scraps of wire at your desk, now is the time to use them up. And you'll need 3 inches total, but really what we're trying to do here is stuff it inside of the actual pipe chain to give it form. One of the cool secrets that I learned about pipe chain and how to kind of position and adjust it to your wrist is simply by using some sort of a molded form of craft wire within it. So the size that you'll need is going to be just a hair shorter than the actual length of your pipe chain. So I have a couple snippets of those out to the side. You'll need 2 feet of medium-sized soft flex beading wire. I went ahead and cut it in half, in fact, and so I've got 2 1-foot lengths that are equal. And I'm using the champagne bronze color. I feel like I'm using this color because I misplaced my regular beading wire, the silver satin color. And I just happen to also love this beautiful champagne color. So I'm not mad about it, but definitely your choice of if you want to use silver or gold or their satin color, that is absolutely your choice. I find that the silver kind of goes well between, or not silver, excuse me, the champagne color goes well between the gold and silver colors. So I say stock up on it personally. All right, so we will also with that need a couple of crimp tubes, which I've got here out to the side. These are, oh, my fingers are dirty there. These are also from Soft Flex Wire. They're incredible crimps that have a thick wall and they don't have any sort of a seam in the crimp itself, which basically ensures a very strong, secure hold, and it's not going to fall apart because there is no seam. You'll definitely need a couple of those. You will need some decorative beads. So I've got 4 of a lot of different kinds. You'll definitely need a larger 9mm bead. So this is the ones that'll kind of stick out and stand out the most. So whenever you're thinking about picking out your own beads, pick out something that is quite decorative. It's got a larger hole because you're going to be passing the stringing wire through it a couple times. So you'll want probably at least a 1.5 to 2mm hole. And if you're trying to go for that rustic feel, I highly recommend the water buffalo horn. It's a wonderful addition to this whole textural piece. So then you'll also need some 4 6mm beads, which are these round matte tiger's eye. I love these. They look like wood, but they're not wood. They're like way more polished and got this cool like little glow to them. I've never personally seen matte tiger's eye before, and so when I found these in Tucson, I was mesmerized, and I was like, "Give me 20 strands of that." To which I passed on to you guys. So I love this stuff. I think it's great for, especially if you're wanting something a bit more rustic and masculine. And then tapering it down to adding hints of gold and other stuff like this piece does to sort of make it more to where everyone can wear it. So I love those, have those out to the side. I also have some 5mm spacer beads, which look like this. And these can be substituted with any metal. If you're wanting to not use metal, you can definitely use gemstones. They do need to be this size of 5 or 4mm though, I will say that. So you can't scrimp on the size, but you can definitely substitute with whatever you'd like. And then you'll need some gemstone rondelles. So I've got these. If you're not wanting to use rondelles, you could definitely swap it out with beads instead. But I find that the rondelles lay quite nicely, and I do love these for their amazing color and faceted look and feel there. The facet especially adds so much more glamour to them. Um, Finally, you will need some chips. These are turquoise chips, and I just have a bunch of these out. You'll need 8, but I will say that I was going somewhere with this, and I completely blanked. So just have 8, and we'll end it there. So those are the ingredients, and now we're going to start putting it together. I'm going to grab my 2 strands of beading wire, and I'm going to remove that graphic. There we go. Have this back out. And I'm going to go ahead and crimp one end. All of my stuff is sort of pre-measured, and so when I'm looking at the length of this, this is going to be just enough for me personally to go around my wrist quite comfortably and still add enough room for that centerpiece. The centerpiece itself, whenever we construct that, is about 2.5 to 3 inches. So if you're thinking wrist-wise, it's going to maybe cover up a good bit of your wrist. And so the pipe chain will sort of just be the end touch of all of it. Having said that, again, all this is pre-measured, so I'm going to just start with one end and then work my way through to the other end of the bracelet. So I'm going to grab a crimp tube, go ahead and string that on to both of the wires at the same time. And I'm going to grab, I guess, since my other jump ring ran away, we're going to use the S hook. So I'm going to crimp it directly to the jump ring. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that both of my wires are aligned as perfectly as they can be, and then pass it through the crimp. The reason for that is that if they cross over each other, it's going to be slightly bulkier and awkward looking crimp whenever we get done with all this. It'll be less polished looking, in other words. So we definitely want to make sure that it's all nice and professionally finished to the end, which means that if you've got your wires overlapping, which I cannot really see if I do or not. I think I do. I'm going to try and undo that. Whoops, wrong direction here. I will say it's a lot tougher since I have to be on camera here, and normally I would be right up against my nose, which I'm sure many of you guys would be as well. All right, there we go. So I'm going to just kind of give that a good tug, make sure that it's got some room for that jump ring to move around freely, but still tight enough to not escape. Once I've done that, I can grab my crimp pliers. And to use these, you simply go with the V-shaped notch first. So we're going to start with that bottom notch at the very end. And you simply just squeeze down. It's going to create a V-shaped divot as such. And then you simply turn it on its side, put it in the middle notch, and squeeze it together. And that's what forms your crimp nicely and professionally. So at this point, you can choose to leave these guys in there if you want to, or you could trim them back. I'm actually going to go ahead and trim them back just a little bit. And at this point, you can grab your pipe chain end cap. Go ahead and string that right through, making sure that the cap is facing up. And then I'm going to string my pipe chain. But before I go all the way down, this is where I want to grab my little 20 gauge wire. And I'm going to just gently tuck that right into my pipe chain, all secretively like that. And then I'm going to slide everything down and making sure that all the wires are tucked into the end cap, as well as these little end pieces here. So it all just kind of nicely snaps together, as you can see. And then I'm going to grab the other end of the pipe chain end cap, this time with the cap side down, and I'm going to just bring it up to the pipe chain. Pretty easy. If you've got a little bit of wire sticking out, which it looks like I do, I'm going to just kind of tuck that back in. Always double check some of this stuff because if it gets out of control, you can now fix it while you're putting this together. So I have got one side of my bracelet already put together, and now we can basically get started on our weaving. So referring back to the picture, we're going to start with our 9mm bead first and then break it out. So I mostly did that to remind myself what the pattern was. Once you take these things apart and you're reconstructing them, it's like, what did I do here again? So normally I'd have a picture out to the side, but I didn't today. Anyway, I strung on my 9mm bead. To that, I'm going to string on a little chip, a faceted rondelle, and then a little tiger's eye, followed by a gold spacer. Okay, so you're going to do that to both sides. Okay, so chip, rondelle, tiger's eye, and gold spacer. All right, so we'll just kind of squeeze everything up toward the top there. And at this point, what we're going to do is cross the wires within a bead. So I'm going to grab another 9mm buffalo horn. I'm going to string through on one side and then crisscross the other wire through it. Just like that. Okay, once I've done that, we're going to be creating our bigger ring here. So the pattern goes one 9mm, oh, sorry, one gold. We're not doing the 9mm quite yet. One gold. Then we'll do, let's see, I already forgot my own pattern. It's a chip. We're basically repeating this same structure as down here. So it's a chip. It is then a rondelle, then a tiger's eye, and I believe we are just kind of repeating the pattern back to us. So it'll be another rondelle, another chip, and another gold bead. Easy peasy. All right, so let's do it out on this side too. We're going to grab a gold spacer, a chip, a rondelle, okay, another tiger's eye, another rondelle, chip, and let's see, I'm going to use this bigger chip because I think I'm going to need that smaller chip toward the end there. Plus, I like to just show off the turquoise as much as I can if I have the availability, excuse me. Let's see. I think that looks really good. So I'm going to string on a 9mm bead, followed by crisscrossing my wires once again. And I've got this beautiful, larger, round centerpiece already built. How gorgeous is that? And you got all those wonderful colors that are playing well together. And then we basically are going to repeat the same pattern, but backwards. So now I'll do gold, a tiger's eye, a rondelle, and a chip. Okay, same thing to this side. I'm going to string on a gold spacer, a tiger's eye, a rondelle, and a chip. I mean, this project could not get any more simpler, right? It's just a matter of stringing a few things together. And to both wires now, I'm going to go ahead and string my 9 millimeter bead. And boom. You see how quickly that came together? Isn't that just insane? And you can see that it covers up a good bit of my wrist here too. And this might look very straight right now, but we're going to add a curve to it here in a bit once I get the other side of my bracelet all wrapped up. But I am just in love with this. So now it's just a matter of stringing everything that we did earlier for our pipe chain. So I'll add on the cap. I will place my pipe chain cutting along with the little craft wire that I'm just going to tuck in all secretively. Okay, go ahead and scooch all that down, making sure that it's tucked away nicely inside of the end cap, which it looks like it is. And then I will add my other end cap, followed by a crimp tube. Oh, there we go. Okay. Perfect. So now all we have to do is crimp our other end or our other our other jump ring in, and we should basically be all finished, minus curving the pipe chain. Here we go. Believe it or not, 4 strands will fit into the crimp pretty easily. It's just a matter of organizing those strands to make sure that they're going to lay nice and flat. That's really where it gets a little tricky, but we can do it. Maybe just going one in at a time is probably the easiest. Okay, that seemed to work pretty well. So I just kind of pull it all together while I'm tightening this. You don't have to be super delicate with it, and you don't really need to necessarily worry about a curve since part of it is beaded and part of it isn't. You do just want that loop to be nice and secure there at the end, which that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that, and there's no loose parts around the bracelet, so I think we're pretty much good to go there. So I'm going to go ahead and just crimp it. Unfortunately, I won't be able to tuck in my little wire ends into the pipe chain at this point, but we can certainly trim it back. And if you are wanting to go that extra mile, you can absolutely use crimp covers for this to cover up those little crimps. So finally, you could see that, again, this is like very stiff pipe chain, but here's the cool part. If you take that pipe chain and bend it, it will curve to your wrist automatically because we've placed in that secret bit of wire inside. So something to think about when you're making bracelets is just making it look and feel not only just aesthetically round as a bracelet could be, but just making it ergonomic to your wrist and that it fits perfectly. And I think it just works really well with the extra clasp in there too. One thing I will note is that to add in the extra measurement, depending on what clasp you're using, if this were a toggle clasp, I would probably have about a 1/4 inch less of space there. But since it is 9 millimeter jump rings plus a S hook that I'm using for this, it does add on a little bit of extra length to it. But that's basically what it looks like. I'm not even going to attempt to put this on without someone. I guess it's big enough for me. There we go. Okay. It works. But you can kind of see that it's a loose fitted bracelet on me. And I prefer a little bit of a tighter fit personally, but I'm not mad about this. I like it. So I'm going to flip my camera back around and I'm going to do a quick pan of any comments to see if there were any questions. But I really enjoyed this project. I enjoyed teaching it to you. It definitely comes up so quickly, and it's quick to put together. And I hope that it inspires you guys to create it. Oh, I have a question over from a friend on Facebook, real quick. She says she's late, which is totally okay. And for those of you that are completely missing the video, then you can definitely check it out on YouTube for replay. What kind of chips are you using? And these are turquoise chips that I'm using. So I'm going to flip it back around to this. Yeah, I just ended up using some beautiful turquoise chips that I found again in Tucson, and I went crazy over and had to shop for you guys. um, we have a question from Harley. Is it left-handed or right-handed? This bracelet does not discriminate. It is any wrist, anklet, body part that you want adorned. Is that oh here and then there we go. Okay, so there's the link for the pop-up shop. Thank you, Joan. All right. Well, I don't see any big questions. So I'm just going to turn it back around, and I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend ahead. And I thank you for being part of this tutorial and watching it. And for those of you out there that are watching it on replay, if you wouldn't mind giving this channel a subscribe and a like for the video. And if you do have a comment, please definitely leave it in the YouTube comment section and I'll take a look at it. You can do all of your shopping at silversilkonline.com. And if you're looking for more inspiration, you could definitely check out my Instagram because I've got a whole catalog of designs that I've posted there. And again, big hugs to you guys. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you at the next tutorial.